Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino, and this is the Weekend Edition. We're going to start off this morning with the water vapor satellite picture, and I think you can see what's going to be controlling our weather pattern over the next several days. A powerful upper level low is developing basically over Maine and parts of eastern Canada. And this upper level low is going to sit around and spin over northern Maine and parts of southeastern Canada through this entire weekend. And as a result, what we end up with is an upper level pattern that has a northwesterly convergent flow. What that basically means is that these disturbances that are circled in yellow, well, they'll basically collapse as they move towards the northern mid-Atlantic. So any type of cloud cover or showers associated with these disturbances over the Ohio Valley will be greatly dispersed by the time they reach the northern mid-Atlantic. So that basically means we can expect some variable cloud cover every so often as these disturbances move through, an isolated shower at most, but for the most part, the main theme for this weekend is going to be warm, dry, and pleasant, with temperatures in the lower to mid 70s for most locations, and excellent conditions for any type of outdoor activity. So it looks like we're heading into a perfect weekend for the first weekend of May. On the surface map for this Friday morning, you can see high pressure is pretty much set up over the North Carolina coastal waters. Our pressure gradient, should I say, that was producing windy conditions yesterday afternoon is now far weaker because our area low pressure is further north and our high pressure system is now further southeast towards the southeastern coastal waters. Notice the cold front over the Ohio Valley, that's going to break up and weaken because of our convergent flow aloft. So really we're looking at a rather tranquil weather pattern for the most part. Again, a few isolated showers are possible, but really not much of a big deal. The key point here is that with this high pressure system setting up over the North Carolina coastal waters, it's going to produce a southwesterly to westerly wind. It's going to come off the Appalachian Mountains and produce very warm conditions for this afternoon. For those of you in the Delaware River Valley, which is basically Philadelphia Metro, parts of central and southwestern New Jersey, around Trenton, for example, and around Monmouth County, I would not be surprised if temperatures push into the mid-70s and a few locations, maybe even the upper 70s. It's going to be a very nice afternoon for Friday, and we can expect similar conditions for Saturday and for Sunday. By the end of the weekend, we start to see some subtle changes in the upper level pattern. Our upper level low redevelops and intensifies off of the New England coast, and that means that our pattern is clearly in a northwesterly component. We have strong convergence and confluence, and notice we have our ridge starting to build over the upper Midwest and down through the Mississippi River Valley. That basically means that we're going to be in a rather warm pattern as our warm air mass builds over the Ohio Valley and drives into the northern mid-Atlantic. Of course, with this pattern, we're still going to have to deal with these disturbances, these little areas in red. They're going to try to dive down through the northern mid-Atlantic and produce a threat of a few isolated showers on Sunday evening and again Monday and Tuesday. But for the most part, the key word here is isolated. Most locations will remain dry through the early part of next week, with no real impact from any type of precipitation and temperatures averaging near to slightly above normal in the upper 60s to mid 70s. As we move towards the end of next week, the high pressure ridge starts to move towards the east coast, and we start to get a very powerful upper level low developing over the northern plains. Now, there's some debate on exactly how strong this upper level low will be, or even if it's completely closed off. But the point here is that we're going to be in a strong southwesterly flow as this upper level feature drives towards the Great Lakes. And that means the end of next week should be rather warm with temperatures in the upper 70s, possibly lower 80s by Friday, and also an increasing threat for severe thunderstorms towards the end of the week. The reason why is that a cold front is going to be approaching by the end of the week, and when you have all this lifting approaching the northern mid-Atlantic and there's an unstable air mass in place with temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s, a good amount of humidity in the air, could produce a line of strong to severe thunderstorms over the northern mid-Atlantic for the end of the week. Something we're going to keep an eye on and see exactly how this disturbance sets up over the Great Lakes and how that translates to the east. This is the surface map for Thursday afternoon, and as you can see, we have an area of low pressure setting up over the Great Lakes that will slowly move towards the St. Lawrence River Valley. We have high pressure holding on the east coast. Now, if we are in the warm and humid air mass that I believe we will be by Thursday afternoon, then what we're probably setting ourselves up for is for some isolated severe thunderstorms over portions of eastern Pennsylvania and the Delaware River Valley. This will primarily be due to mid-level disturbances within the warm air mass that will be in place over the northern mid-Atlantic. I would not be surprised along the immediate coast we're dealing with some fog in the morning, followed by a more stable and slightly cooler air mass along the coast with some marine influence. Now, later on Friday, this low pressure system tries to move northeast. We have a cold front attempting to move through, and that's where we'll get our real large-scale severe weather outbreak developing somewhere between the Ohio Valley and the southern mid-Atlantic. How that all shapes out, we're going to have to wait to see exactly how these disturbances develop, where they move, and where they'll be strongest. In some cases, what we could end up having is a significant severe event over portions of Virginia, West Virginia, and North Carolina, but locations to the north of that severe weather outbreak ends up just getting some scattered showers due to mesoscale lifting parameters. Things that we're going to have to wait until the actual day of the formation of this line to really tell. But for the most part, much of this week is going to be rather pleasant and comfortable with only an isolated shower here or there each afternoon. Otherwise, it's going to be an excellent week for any type of outdoor activity. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent weekend and a happy Mother's Day.